Hello, all you out there in the rural waterland. It's good to see you. Oh, that was supposed to be a joke because I can't see you, right? Vern called me and asked me to do this video, and I'm not exactly sure what he wants from me, but I thought I would do a little chronology of the association from my experience. I started with the association in 1984. It was actually February of 1984. At that time there was a general manager, Russ Donahue, an assistant office manager, Linda Russell, another circuit rider that started 3 months before I did, Carl Webb, and then myself. And Carl Webb was fulfilling the contract from the state, and I was fulfilling the contract from the National Rural Water Association. And then in 1986, we changed managers of the association. Russ was offered a position in Duncan, Oklahoma with the National, and I was selected to be the general manager, program manager of the Rural Water Association. So there was myself, and then Linda, and then Randy Anderson had been on board for about a year, and then Ken Orton was hired at that time. So there was still only 4 of us at that point in time. One of the things that stands out in my mind of what was going on at that time was it seemed like the federal funds were always coming in late because of the budgets with the federal government. So we would work for 3 months before we actually got federal monies. And in order to keep the association functioning, it was necessary for us to go take out a loan. And the first time that Del Pearson and I took out the loan for the association, the bank made sure they informed us that this $40,000, $50,000 loan that we were taking out to keep the association functioning was in our names. And if the federal money did not come through, then we were the ones that would have to repay this money back. And I decided that this idea of taking out loans for the association wasn't going to last too long. And so I started at that point to put away reserves to be able to handle that period of time when the federal money was not coming as it should because of the budgets with the federal government. And we still watch on TV and watch them play with the budgets and everything. It's still the same process. I looked down and I made a few notes so I could kind of remember what I'm talking about. You know, I'm getting old. I'm almost 70, so you got to be patient with me. In 1988, we moved the office from Moab to Spanish Fork. When we moved the office, we still had only 4 people as employees for the association. Then within a short period of time, we hired 2 more people. We received a new contract from National Rural Water for the groundwater program and for a wastewater circuit rider. And then we hired a part-time office assistant. So now we went from 4 people to 7 people. And we were there for a couple of years, and then we needed to move or else buy the building we were renting. And the building we were renting just barely worked for what we had as far as staff. In fact, it was a little bit small. And so one of our directors, who has actually worked for Pleasant Grove, indicated they had a building that they could share. And so that's when we moved up to Pleasant Grove, and I think that was about 1990. And we were there for 2 years, and at that point in time, the association became financially stable enough that we were able to have a full-time general manager, which became the full-time executive director. At that point in my life, I decided I would prefer to be out in the field with all of you and doing training and on-site technical assistance, rather than trying to manage the financial affairs and everything else that was going on with the association. So at that point in time, then Russ Donahue came back on board as the executive director of the association. And I had the privilege of being able to spend more of my time, or all my time, working with the water systems and doing the trainings that I enjoyed so much. A little history on my experience as a circuit rider. When I started in 1984, the association was mostly unknown. It had only been in existence for a couple of years, and so it was a matter of me knocking on doors of people who didn't know who in the world I was. And one of my first experiences was in Lindell. And I stopped by there to visit with whoever was taking care of the system, and it happened to be the mayor. And I talked to his wife. I had to go to his house, and I talked to his wife, and she went and got him. And he said, I was just heading out the door to go feed my cows. He says, if you want to visit with me, you have to come. So I went and climbed in his pickup. We went out, loaded hay in his pickup, and then I drove the pickup while he unloaded it. At least he let me drive the pickup while he unloaded it. And then we did that, and then we headed back toward town. As we headed back, he turned to me and he said, who in the hell are you, and what in the hell do you want? And so I was able to introduce myself and those types of things. The other one was up north, in a small community up there, and I found the person who was operating the water system, and he goes, oh, you're the SOB that's trying to make us put in water meters. And I, no, I'm not. You're the wonderful person that's trying to make us do this. And I go, no, I'm not. He goes, well, then who in the hell are you? And so then I explained again who I was and what I was doing. And then the association has really changed. I don't think there's a water system out there that if any of the circuit riders or the employees of the Rural Water Association went to and knocked on the door, that they wouldn't say, oh yeah, we know who you are. But that's what it's all about. That's what the association is there for, is to help all of you in your things that you need to get accomplished. And the annual conference, the first year that I was over the annual conference, we had, I think it was 20 exhibitors, and probably maybe we bumped 100 attendance that year. And that was, of course, in 1986. And so you look around at everyone that's here at the banquet, and all of the exhibitors, and all that's been done by you all, and by those that have come on board and helped the association grow and enlarge. Just in closing, I'd like to say that the best thing about the association was working and associating with all you. I'll never forget my association with you. Eileen and I always said, driving up and down the road, if we ever had trouble, somebody was just a phone call away. And I truly believe that. And I thank you for your friendship.